Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and thanks for joining us today, May 10th, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. Well, today, as always, we have a number of feasts. The first thing we celebrate, it comes to us from the Abbot Orsini, who tells us that they celebrate Our Lady of Saussay, or Saussay, near Paris, France, and he says 1305. The church of this Benedictine priory was dedicated to Our Lady in the year 1305 by Pope Clement V. Okay, so that's the information. The Abbey of La Joie-le-Namur, or Our Lady of Joy, or Notre-Dame de la Saussay, was once a royal abbey which depended on the order of Château, located southwest of Namur on the left bank of the Loing River. It says in the municipality of Saint-Péray-le-Namur. We're told that near the city of Paris, there was once a shrine dedicated to Mary under the above title, right? That is Our Lady of Saussay. But it was also known as l'Abbey de la Joie-le-Namur, or Our Lady of Joy, right? And the Abbey of Joy. So why would you call it the Abbey of Joy? Well, tradition says that that title of joy was given to the abbey when Saint King Louis IX was returning from an expedition against the English and met his mother, Queen Blanche, near the convent. They tenderly embraced, and on that happy occasion, the church was named for the joy they felt at the reunion. So, Saint King Louis IX and his mother. The shrine was located in a church of a Benedictine priory and was dedicated to the Virgin of Saussay by Pope Clement V, as we said, in 1305. We're also told that it was today, in the 4th century, that Constantinople, that city, was dedicated to Mary by Constantine the Great under the Patriarch Alexander. Again, that goes back to the 4th century. And last, but certainly not least, we also celebrate Majka Milosti in Trast, Rijeka in Croatia. Pretty much butchered that name. So tradition holds that on May 10th, 1291, angels carried the Holy House of Mary, so that's the house that is now in Loreto, from Muslim-controlled Nazareth to Trast, on a mountain overlooking the Regentina River Gorge and the Adriatic Sea, where it stayed until its miraculous transport to Loreto, Italy in 1294. Okay, so that's why it's Our Lady of Trast, that place. Now, years later, in 1367, Pope Urban V gave the Shrine of Trast an oil painting of the Mother of Mercy nursing the child Jesus, believed to have been painted by St. Luke the Evangelist. In 1715, it received the first papal coronation of an image outside of Italy. So that's very interesting. Our Lady of Trast goes in procession on her feast day, May 10th, and also on the Feast of the Assumption, August 15th. It's long been a popular place for pilgrims, many who approach the site on their knees. And the Church of Our Lady of Trast is part of a Franciscan monastic complex. And in 1930, it was given the title of Minor Basilica. So that's why we're celebrating today in the Marian world on May 10th. For today's Marian meditation, taken from the book by Father Ildefonso Villar, we continue with Meditation 62, entitled Mary and the Eucharist. And here our point is entitled, The Sacrament of Mary. The Holy Eucharist could thus be named the Sacrament of Mary. In the other sacraments, she has no share, but in this she has it, and a most important one too. The flesh of Jesus, says St. Thomas, is but the virginal flesh of Mary. It is she, therefore, who provided the matter necessary for the sacrament. The Virgin with her fiat brought the Son of God from the bosom of his Father to her own immaculate bosom. The priest at the consecration works a similar miracle, and into his hands the Son of God, already the Son of Mary, descends. The words of the priest are, therefore, like an echo of Mary's own words. Their prodigious operation is just like the continuation of the wonders of Nazareth. Rightly has it been said that the Eucharist is the continuation of the work of Mary. Mary's greatest concern was that of loving and adoring Jesus as her Son and her God. Jesus became her child in order to draw us with his charm and love to know the love of God. But in fact, how many come to know and love that divine child? Mary was the model of the souls enkindled with the love of Jesus. She loved him with such an immense intensity. Now in the Eucharist, Jesus becomes the bread and food of men. What for? Again, in order to capture our love. he annihilated himself when he became a man. More effectively so, he annihilates himself when becoming our bread. But in this annihilation, he scarcely finds any real love and true affection except that of his mother. She alone, with all her love, is capable of compensating this humiliating annihilation. When you love Jesus in the Eucharist, think that you are continuing that poem of love which Mary began at Bethlehem. Now as then, most men neither love him, nor care to thank him for what he has done for us. Now also, as then, somebody should volunteer to make up for this ingratitude. Of old it was Mary. Now it must be you with her. For today's reading from the Admirable Heart of Mary by St. John Eudes, we read the conclusion of chapter 6 entitled Heart of Mary, Empire of the Divine Will, that is, where the Divine Will reigned supreme. Let us hearken also to St. Andrew of Jerusalem, who says, God ordered light to be, and all things are made. The Blessed Virgin says, Be it done unto me according to thy word, and the greatest of all things was accomplished. God's fiat is a fiat of command. The fiat of the Mother of God is a fiat of obedience. By God's command, heaven and earth were made. By the Virgin's obedience, the admirable incarnation of the eternal Word followed. The final act of submission and obedience to the divine will that sprang from Holy Mary's maternal heart was her consent to that adorable will concerning the passion and death of her beloved Son. This consent she gave with such wonderful obedience that if such had been the Eternal Father's will, she would have been as ready to crucify and sacrifice Christ with her own hands, even as Abraham prepared to sacrifice his only son Isaac, yet with incomparably greater love and obedience. Thus the divine will ever reigned in the most holy heart of the Queen of Heaven, and thus will it be forever. May we not truly say, therefore, that adorable will of the Almighty possesses her admirable heart more mightily, more magnificently, and more gloriously by far than all other hearts that ever were or shall be in heaven or on earth? It possesses absolute authority and power over Mary's heart, where it will reign forever, where it will eternally receive the veneration, homage, and adoration of all the angels and saints. Infinite and eternal glory, then, to that adorable heart for all the marvels it has ever wrought in the most pure heart of the Mother of God. Unending praise and thanksgiving be to her most admirable heart for all the love and honor that its most perfect submission and obedience have ever rendered and shall forever render to the adorable will of the Heavenly Father.
Hello, and we hope that you enjoyed listening to our Marian podcast. In the spirit of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, we say to you that there is no greater delight than to spread the devotion of Our Lady. We hope you share these sentiments and encourage you greatly to share with a loved one. Know that you are always in our prayers, and we ask that you keep us in yours. God bless.